Well, hello everybody. It's Danny back from Deepsouth Homestead. Porch time. Not on the porch. I'm actually in one of my sitting rooms that overlooks the back of my property. And guys, it's trying times right now. Challenging times. It's screaming hot outside. I decided I'm not even going to the cabin. I'm not even going to the porch. It's like 115-degree heat index outside right now, so I'm not going to sit out there. I decided to come into the room here and just kind of take it easy as much as I can. We've just came in out of the heat, trying to get cooled back off. It doesn't look like there's going to be much of an end to it here for us. From what I'm understanding, the next couple of weeks here is just still going to be in the triple-digit heat indexes, and actually temperatures. This past week we had temperatures as high as 104 and 105, just temperatures, not the heat indexes, and that has been miserable. We are on the day this comes out, I'm shooting this on a Sunday evening. As of today, we are at day 84 on our heat indices, being way over 100 degrees. We're talking about we've been in the excessive and extreme heat down here. No rain. Everything is just a dry powder house down here. Any of you who watch our videos will see in the videos we've been putting up dealing with the drought of just how bad it really is here. And we're not alone. The people in Texas and Louisiana and different places are in certain parts of, I guess, Arkansas and all are just as bad as we are. And guys, I told you on the live stream the other night when I was going to do porch time, I was just going to pour my heart out. And I am. Because our joy is easily taken now. It's so easy for our joy to be taken. And I want us to look back, and I want us to think back, those of us who can, to our younger years when I remember, all I can talk about is me. I can't talk about anybody else because I don't know about anybody else. I only know about me. When I was a young man, and when I say young man, I'm talking about 16 to 17 years old, I had big dreams of owning farms with land and cattle and, animals and stuff like that. My daddy was never really interested in owning a farm. Even though we had chickens, and my dad, I think the most land my dad ever owned was like 20 acres, and then he turned around and sold part of that. He said it's just too much for a man to take care of, which is not true. But my dad, he owned his own business, and he was always working. He never really took a lot of time after he got going in life to enjoy his life. When he was younger, yes, he did. When I was a young lad, he spent a lot of time with me, taking me squirrel hunting, taking me fishing, different things of that nature. We spent a lot of time together. But once my dad got older and his business grew and stuff like that, he just lost himself in his business and never really spent time with any of the other boys in our family going hunting and fishing and stuff like that. He was always working. He lost the joy. And I'm watching myself because in my younger years, and I'm going to say in my younger years, I'm going to say when I was in my early 20s, I went out and did what Danny wanted to do. I wanted to see the world. I wanted to serve my country. There's lots of things I wanted to do, and some I did, some I did not do. And the thing about it is I had those dreams Now, a lot of the dreams were robbed from me. And I use the word robbed because the old devil will rob you of everything that you ever wanted. I wanted 100 acres of land. I had my mind made up. I wanted to own 100 acres of land. And when I become 18 years old, I was a young man, and back in that day and time, life is different than it is now. It was automatically assumed that when you got 18 years old, my daddy told me, he said, son, I've raised you to 18. Now, you got to go. You know, I'm not going to keep raising you. You're a man. You either got to join the military, or you got to get you a place you own. You got to do something. You can't stay here. I'm not going to raise you and let you freeload off of me. And it was just understood. It wasn't that he was being cold or mean or anything to that nature. Even the young women went through that. Young women were nurtured and taught by the mother to be housewives and to be mothers and stuff. They were taught to nurture children and to be a good wife and to be a homemaker and stuff like this. And any woman will tell you that the hardest job in the world is to be a homemaker. Most of them will go out and do a public job any day of the week over being a homemaker because it's never ending, you know. And that's the way it was when I was young, coming up. It was just understood that the young women and the young men, when they got to be around 18 years old, you know, you needed to be moving on. You get married, or you join the service, you do something. Or you go out on your own, you get out of the house. Now, I look around and I see young people 25, even up to 30 years old, still at home, mooching off of mom and dad, you know, and that wouldn't have set well with my parents, I can tell you that. Or even our generation. But we had dreams. I had dreams that I wanted to fulfill. And when I went out into the world to fulfill my dreams, that was one of the times that my father really and me didn't see eye to eye on a lot of things. My dad, I went the climbing the ladder route, should I say. And my father told me, he said, well, go on, get out of here then. He said, if you want to live that kind of lifestyle, he said, be a high and mighty person, go on. Well, it wasn't that I was trying to be high and mighty. I wanted to better myself. But my father had owned his own business so long that he'd gotten stuck in a rut. And I saw that. And I didn't want to be stuck in a rut. My dad was never really what you would call financially wise with his money. He always made good money, but he did not know how to reinvest it back into the family, and he just kept dumping it into the company, and which is not what you do. You know, you build your family. That's what a business is, a tool. It's made to build your family, and that's what I did. I used my businesses. I had 3 different businesses, and I used them to build my family, build what I wanted in life, so that I could get out of it at a young age while I still could. My father worked until the day he could not work, and he never really enjoyed his later time in life. He spent the last several years of his life, probably 10, 15 years of his life, in a wheelchair, and complaining the whole time. And I didn't want that for me, because I saw these things happening. And I had these dreams. Well, as I went along in life, some of these dreams were robbed from me by the old devil. And any of you who's watched my stories know what I'm talking about. I'm not going to reinvent the wheel on that. But along the way, we have these dreams. I had dreams of having a beautiful homestead, cattle, fields, beautiful timber, nice running, flowing streams of water, ponds with fish in them, all this kinds of stuff, barns, the old rustic home, farmhouse or log cabin, either one would have been fine with me. I had these dreams. And as I hit that corporate ladder, trying to get up it as fast as I could to obtain the wealth that I needed to make this happen, along the way, I fell prey to exactly the same thing that happened to my father. And it took me till I was about 35 years old to realize that. And once I realized that I was falling into the same trap that my father had fallen into, I said, I got to make a change. And I went to the Lord. The Lord had given me the money prior to that. I had asked the Lord prior to that. I said, Lord, if you give me the money to pay off all this debt that I owe, then I'll pay it off and I'll be debt free. Well, I did not. He gave me the money and I did not do it. And I realized that I had vowed a vow unto the Lord and I didn't pay it. And I went back to the Lord and I told him, I said, Father, I confessed and I told him I was wrong for what I had done, that if he would bless me again, I would pay these debts off. And he did, and I did. And by the time I was 40 years old, I was completely debt free. I owned a large chunk of land, a home, barns, everything I was debt free. And I was planning on retiring by the time I was 45 years old, with a nice nest egg, to live off of. Well, the heat came in just like it came in now. And it was so bad for so many years there that I actually left here and went to New York to work. Now up there it was in the 80s, and to me that was a dream to work in the 80s, because down here we're talking about, it's like it is now, it was in the triple digits all the time. We wake up in the morning here in the 90s, and up there they never even made it up to the 90s. It was in the 80s, and the mornings were way cooler than that. And during that time I ended up the lady I was married to for 20 years decided, those of you who know my story, decided, we didn't want to be married anymore, or she didn't want to be married anymore. And some things are beyond your control. And I ended up going through a divorce. And within a matter of a year, I was way over $200,000 back in debt again to build another place and another home and stuff. I gave her the home. I told her I didn't want to leave my kids out in the cold. I gave her the home. And I was in the construction business, so I figured I'd just build me another one. And I did. And I prayed to the Lord. I said, Lord, I'm back. I'm $200,000. I'm way over $200,000 in debt again, and I really don't want to be in debt. I was ready to retire, and I didn't see an end in it at that point. But the Lord, for the next 7 years, I worked very, very hard. Those of you who know my story, I paid that debt off. Now, I didn't go out to eat. I didn't do anything. I didn't travel. I didn't do anything. I just stayed home in order to make that happen. Well, fast forward to now, and here I am in my mid-60s. Now, I retired 11 years ago, and I've been retired for 11 years. Now, there's been some ups and some downs in these 11 years. There's been some very lean times, and there's been some very good times. But the point I'm trying to make today is that we have to be very, very careful not to have our dreams robbed from us. It really, to be honest with you, I was laying on the couch the other night in here. Ms. Wanda had done gone to bed, and I was laying in here, and I was just communing with the Lord. And I said, Lord, and the verse came to my mind of the psalmist David, one of my favorite characters in the Bible. He said, return unto me, O Lord, the joy of thy great salvation. And I thought about that verse as I laid there. And I thought about all the things in life that I had used to desire, and how stressful life has gotten now because of the things I'm involved in, the things I know about now that I used to didn't know. And it kind of struck home with me that my joy is being robbed by what I know, because it's putting a certain amount of stress on me that I want to be prepared as much as I can for what's coming in our future. Now, I don't know that, and this is a question I'm fixing to impose to you. There's a question here that gets asked to me all the time. Danny, where is the safest place for me to live in the United States? I'm looking to relocate and start a homestead. And I'm going to be honest with you today. There is no safe place, okay? There's no safe place in the world today. Not even, nowhere. I have looked at when Wanda and I here 2 or 3 years ago, we began to look for a new location. Being frank and honest with you. And we looked all over the place. We looked in Missouri, Arkansas, Tennessee, Kentucky, Mississippi, Alabama, all around those states in that circle area up in there. And thought a couple of times in Missouri we'd found some places, and the Lord slammed the door on us. And finally there come a point after about, I think it was like 3 years of doing this, we just gave up. I told Wanda, I said, look, it's just not intended for this to happen. And we gave up and we just quit. And then one day, out of the blue, God opened up a door for the property at Pecan Grove. Now, it's a little distance from here, but it was everything that we had looked for. But it was still in my zone. That was the thing that was kind of shocking to me. I questioned God about it a lot. I said, Lord, is this me or is this you? I didn't want to make a bad mistake. And the Lord told me, he said, look, through scripture and reading and just communing with the Lord, I'm opening this door for you. It will be very easy for you. And it was very easy for us to purchase this. And yet we're debt free. And guys, for the first time in probably 25 years, I'm chasing a dream again. That joy is trying to come back, and every day it gets knocked back because of some new event that happens in the world that I'm notified about or anything like that. And I sat through a briefing or whatever you want to call it, and I hear about the future, what's fixing to happen, what the elite are getting ready to do, and the plans that they're making and stuff like this, and it's out of my price range. I can't do the things that most of the elite are doing. And Wanda and I talk about it, and I told her, I says, look, this is going to be happening, that's going to happen, and they know it's going to happen, and what's the solution here? And we both come to the conclusion, I'm just going to be honest with you, I'm being frank and honest today about my life, is we're going to grow where we're planted. Yes, we're on the borderline of some very tragic things that's predicted to happen. But we had to turn it all over to the Lord. I know who holds tomorrow. The old song says, I know who holds tomorrow, and I know who holds my hand. And the fact that we put our trust in the Lord gives us peace and comfort to move forward with the plans that we have for our future. Even though the powers to be, let me use those phrases, says it's not going to happen that way, we're going to pray and we're going to believe that the Lord is greater and that He can make all things happen. And He can override anything that anyone else wants to do, because this this property that we found is our dream. It's not only my dream, it's her dream also. And because of that, we're like teenagers once again. And you would know right when we got to our dream, and we need to be working on it because it's been abandoned basically for the last 25 years or more. Growed up, overgrown. I mean, it's just in bad shape, and I'm having to work to try to turn it back into a nice place again. It's one of the worst and the hottest summers we've ever had. And I come in at 10:30, 11 o'clock some days. I get here after lunch, drenched with sweat, soaking wet, telling Wanda, I said, look, I just can't go anymore today. I said, the heat is just taking it out of me. This triple-digit heat indexes. I said, I just can't take it. And my equipment is not air conditioned. I mean, I don't have a cab on my tractor that I can sit in and I can work in. Even though it's hot, I can be in AC and I can continue to get things done. I don't have that luxury. And momentarily, from time to time, because of all this heat, my joy is being robbed from me again. And I come to that conclusion really fast. And I told Wanda, I said, you know, I come home and all I can do is just sit here in the house because I can't go back outside. It's too hot for me to go outside. My body and my age won't allow it. And I try to do things here in the house that I can do. I'm working on the Danny corn and different things, but my heart is at the other property working over there. And I'm trying my best to not let my joy be robbed from me. And that's what I wanted. That's my whole point of the video today, is don't allow your joy to be robbed from you. Now, I know our true happiness and true joy is in the Lord, but I'm talking about our physical and the joys that the dreams that we have here while we're upon this earth. You know, we don't want those things taken from us, because when you take a man or a woman's dream from them, you take their life away from them. And they need their dream. And that's, I want you guys to be able to enjoy the things that you want to enjoy and not have it robbed from you. So be aware that the old devil himself is out to rob you of your joy. And don't let that happen. I'm trying to find all the solutions that I can. I'm trying to get creative. I'm trying to be inventive of everything that I'm doing. I'm clearing out spots to put container gardens and, you know, while I can. And then I come home and I've got enough Danny corn pulled. Now we've completely cleared the fields and we've bush hogged it all down. I have it stored up in big containers and I'm going through it now, shucking it out, and, you know, I'm putting it in the cooler to save it as long as I can so I can use it throughout the winter months to make my cornmeal, my grits. So we've got the grist mill now. I'm still waiting on my parts to come in for the grist mill. They are, like I said on a live stream the other night, 4 weeks ago they took my money and they told me that they'll have them for me. And every time I call, it's another week, and so I'm just going to have to wait. I realize it's an old piece of equipment and those old parts are hard to come by, so I realize that. I've ordered a new belt for my tractor to be able to drive it, a lot longer one, a new one, because I want it to be where when I crank this thing up and actually start using it, I want it to be something that I enjoy doing. I want to be able to bless others also by, once I've gotten fairly decent at being able to grind my own grits and cornmeal and corn flour, I want to be able to do it for other people and help them who raise their own food. That's my dream, and that's my joy, is to help others. And I don't want that robbed from me. And it seems like because I'm having to wait and wait and wait and wait, that the old devil's just trying to rob me of that joy also. And we're hanging on, trusting in the Lord. He's going to make this happen for us. And when it does, you guys will be the first to see it. I will post a video. I'll show the parts. I'll show putting them all on the mill. I'll show setting everything up. We're going to, hopefully by then, I'll have some corn that's been through the freezing process and gotten rid of any of the weevil eggs or anything that's in it, so that we can be making our own flour and grits and cornmeal and stuff like that out of it. That's one of my joys, guys, and I'm trying to keep it alive. And I want to be able to bring good news to you guys. I don't want to be like all these other YouTube channels out there that talk about all the doom and the gloom and the things that's the tragedies that's happening in the world. And I know they're out there, and if you want to watch them, that's fine. I'm trying to now mainly focus on if I know something is going to be harmful to you, then I'll try to do a video on it, because I don't want to see anyone come to any harm. But at the same time, I want to try to keep us focused on being successful at growing our own food here at Deepsouth Homestead. So guys, keep your heads up. Look to the Lord and trust in Him for your true joy and your true salvation. But for your earthly life here, guys, just get up every day and pray, Lord, grant me the blessings of obedience this day as I try to be obedient to you. And if you don't know about the blessings of obedience, go over in the latter chapters of Deuteronomy, chapter, I guess, 28, and read about them. And just enjoy your life. Quit letting your life be robbed of the joy because of all the tragic news that's in the world today. Things like Klaus Schwab putting out, oh, you'll own nothing and you'll be happy. No, I will not be happy, and I will own something. And that is the way I'm looking at it. I will fight to the end to enjoy the life that I have carved out here with the help of the Lord for Wanda and I encourage you to do the exact same thing. Thank you, guys, from Deepsouth Homestead.